All right. Welcome to our special Board of Education meeting for the Raymond School District number 14. This meeting is our reorganizational meeting that is required once board membership changes. So with that, I will call this meeting to order, and it is 6:18. And please rise to say the Pledge of Allegiance with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Allie, will you do roll call of attendance, please?
Jenny Gonzalez.
Yes.
Ed Robinson.
Here.
Audrey Kostick.
Here.
Keith Kastenson.
Here.
Mike Powers.
Yep.
Thank you, Allie. We move to verification of public notice pursuant to 19.841 Wisconsin statutes.
The meeting was posted in all usual places: schoolhouse stores, e-Virgin stores, the village hall, online, and with media was notified.
Thank you. So with that, we move to approve the agenda of this meeting.
Move to approve the agenda for the meeting. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda of the meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. At this point, I will turn the meeting over to our superintendent, Mr. Leach.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. I guess I have the power for a very short time here, so we're going to take some time on this. I'm just kidding. Looking for a nomination for president.
I nominate Audrey Kostick.
I second.
So there's a nomination for Audrey Kostick for president, and is there a second?
I second.
Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Being no other nominations, all those in favor of Audrey Kostick for the position of president, please say aye.
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 All opposed? There's no opposed. Motion carries unanimously. So we'll now proceed with the nominations for the other board positions.
Okay. Thank you for your confidence. We move to vice president. Is there a motion for vice president?
Nominate Keith for vice president. I nominate Keith for vice president, if that's all right.
I second the nomination.
Are there any other nominations? I'd like to nominate Mike Powers for vice president. Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? And one more time, are there any other nominations? With this, we'll need to do a paper ballot. And the two are Keith and Mike Powers.
I'm going to do a really fancy
I
style
got one.
paper ballot. You got
Got
paper
it.
ballot? There you go.
Yeah.
All right, I feel like I'm back in middle school passing notes. It's okay. Now the kids just do a Snapchat. It's totally different. I've got one for Mike Powers, one for Keith. That would be 2 for Mike Powers, 3 for Mike Powers, 4 for Mike Powers. So 4 votes to 1. It appears as though Mike has obtained the nomination.
You accept the nomination, Mike?
Yes.
Do we need to vote on that again? Okay. Is there, okay, we've already made a motion and a second. All those in favor of Mike Powers being the vice president?
Aye.
Right. You did it.
Aye. Any opposed? Mike is our new vice president. Okay, we will move on to, I'm going to jump the gun here and go to the treasurer. Is there a nomination for treasurer?
Nominate Ed Robinson.
I'll second that nomination.
Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? And one more time, are there any other nominations? Being there are no other nominations, all those in favor of Ed Robinson for treasurer?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ed is our treasurer. And the last one is a nomination for clerk.
I'll nominate Jenny for clerk. I'll second.
There's a nomination for Jennifer to be the clerk, and a second. Are there any more nominations? Are there any more nominations? And are there any more nominations? Being there are no other nominations, all those in favor of Jenny Gonzalez for clerk, position of clerk?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Jenny, you are our new clerk. Oh, I should say any opposed. And being there are none, Jenny, you are our new clerk. And that leaves Keith as our director. So, pardon me? Oh, right, where are we at here? Okay. Next, we need to move to appoint a deputy clerk. This is the person who takes our minutes and produces them. Is there a motion to appoint Alexandra Siselski? I fumble that every time. Executive Administrative Assistant as the deputy clerk. We have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
That way I don't have to mess up the last name.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to appoint Ally as our deputy clerk. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ally, you are our deputy clerk. Board member signatures are on here.
Yeah, as we're moving to improve systems, it's important that we articulate who has access to what accounts and who's going to be working with obtaining financial status of any kind for the school district. So our new business administrator, who starts in July, has been very helpful, and Jeff Genovese has recommended that the board consider identifying the board member signatures that we obtain. And so there's a document, if you wanted to just read through the various categories that we're signing off on, that will identify at least which role is signing off on which specific financial tasks. And then we have a signature on that, just to send that into the bank so they're aware, and it's a public document in the event that any public would like to know who is eligible to sign off on things. It's meant for clarity. Just read the position and then who has the signature.
So the current signers, I shouldn't say the current signers, the signers for general checking will be the clerk, the president, and the treasurer. The money market, the clerk, the president, and the treasurer. Athletic checking will be the superintendent and the business manager. The flex benefit will be the superintendent and the business manager. Safe deposit box signers, do we have a safe deposit box?
I don't know if we do.
Okay.
If we do, this is who would sign for.
All right, and that will be the clerk, the president, the treasurer, the superintendent, and the business manager.
So that's a document that's created by WASBO, which is the Wisconsin Administration of School Business Officials, and so it's recommended for them that those are the signatures for all sorts of things. Pete, do you know if we have a safe deposit box? Okay, well, clearly we haven't accessed it, if that's the case, but now we know who can.
All
Good.
right, so that concludes the special board meeting agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn. Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned at 6:30. We will move right into our regular board meeting.
I can take them.
Our clerk, our newly appointed clerk will take those.
Yeah, don't know really what I'm doing,
Hold on here while I pull up our agenda.
Before the meeting starts or is called to order, I'd like to take a moment and exercise some executive privilege, and this will be in regard to public comments. Please note in the public portion of the agenda that topics are to be related to agenda items. And with that, I'm going to call this meeting to order. It is 6:31. Please rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Ally, will you do roll call of attendance again, please?
Costick,
Here.
Jenny Gonzalez,
Here.
Ed Robinson,
Here.
Keith Kastenson,
Here.
and Mike Powers.
Here.
Next is verification of public notice pursuant to 19.841 Wisconsin statutes.
The meeting was posted in all the usual spots: schoolhouse doors, down in Evergent stores, village doors, or village hall, posted online, and media were notified and are present.
Thank you, Mike. Next, we move to approve the agenda of this meeting.
Motion to approve. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda for this meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. We move to consent agenda. I hope that everyone has taken some time to read the regular meeting minutes from our April regular board meeting and our board workshop that was on 5/5. And with that,
On 5/5, it listed that Mike Powers was not here, but he was in attendance on
Should-
those board
should have
workshops.
been Ed.
Ed was marked absent,
Oh.
but so was Mike in those minutes.
Oh. Okay. All right, there is a correction. I didn't catch that one. me have to look at them.
I'll pat myself on the back for my first.
Thank you.
I think rule one is make sure you were at the meeting, right, Mike?
All right, with that correction, is there a motion to accept or to approve the consent agenda for these two items?
Accept with the correction made.
I second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda for, and that is the approval of regular meeting minutes from 4/22 and the approval of board workshop meeting minutes with the correction for 5/5. Is there a motion to, we have a motion?
We have a motion.
A motion and a second? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 I abstain from 4/22, 25 minutes.
Oh, yeah, I abstained from 4/22 as well.
Okay.
We were not on the board at that time.
All right, we'll have.
Yep.
Okay. So for those that were present, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? 2 abstained. Motion carries. We move to business and finance. So financial report from Pete?
Good. I just knocked myself over. All right, in April, we spent more than what we brought in, bringing our cash flow down to around $1.3 million. No major expenditures in April other than payroll and benefits. We did pay off our 5-year loan, but that amount was taken out on May 2nd, so that will officially hit the bank and the books next month. That's why when you look at Fund 38 in comparison to last year was at about 100%. This year we remain at 71. That will even itself out next month.
What was the total amount on the loan payoff from 5 years ago?
52,000 and change.
Okay.
Fund 10 still looks good at this point. Many bills will still be paid as we wrap up the school year, and you'll see that tighten up. I still believe at this point that we will end up in the black come year end. Fund 27 is back in line. If you remember last month, the differences between last year and this year were a little more significant. They have tightened up, so that looks good. For revenues this month, we received our lottery credit from the county in the amount of $72,476.18. Common school fund money, which is given by the state to purchase items for our school library and does include technology for the library area. That amount was $23,082. Wisconsin, by the way, is one of the few states that actually does this program, so we should be grateful that we are fortunate enough to have it in this state. We received our special education transportation aid money from Waterford in the amount of $12,630.84. And finally, we completed our safety grant, which was the mapping of our campus, the digital mapping. That grant provided the money to complete the task. Total amount was $3,010. We received the second half of that, $1,505 this past month. And finally, Jeff Genovese has been working with me so that we have a smooth transition in July. He's already started looking at ways to improve things for when he takes over officially, and I will do my best to have them set up for the way he wants them, so he is ready to rock and roll July 1. Any questions?
Any questions? Thank you, Pete. With that,
I do the treasurer's
Okay.
report. Okay. Treasurer's report, beginning balance. Treasurer's report, beginning balance was $1,653,169.18. Accounts payable was $261,802.93. Receipts, $102,858.50. Payroll disbursements, $193,436.65. Total transactions, $352,381.08.
leaves us an ending balance of $1,300,788.10. Please look at the agenda for the vouchers and payrolls that were approved.
All right, with that, do we have a motion to approve the treasurer's report?
Motion to approve the treasurer's report.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the treasurer's report as Pete's explanation and Ed's reading of the totals. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. So next we come to the fun part of our meeting, and that is our school showcase. And today we have the third grade Wax Museum to be presented.
Yes, welcome. Come on up, everybody. So the Wax Museum is not new to many people in this room. It was new to me here at Raymond. But it's an awesome opportunity, and our wonderful third grade teachers are here to talk our way through this. Mrs. Coop and Mrs. Fueling are here to talk through what happened with the event itself, and it was a huge success. Many of you in this room were able to attend, which was really great. This room was a little hot that day, but that's because it was full of lots of information, and people. So with no further ado, I'll turn it over to the teachers. I'm going to talk into the microphone here, if you could. You're going to want one of those in your classroom.
That's right. So as you know, we are the third grade team. This kind of started as a biography book report. The kids had to bring in a book and get it approved to make sure that it was at their level. They had about 6 weeks to do the project. So that would be reading the book, taking notes, writing their speech that they're going to deliver. They had to write it in first person, though. They had to become their character that they read about and learned about. Then they had to give a speech to their classroom. That speech was 3 to 8 minutes long. They also designed a timeline of some important events. And then to kind of make it nice for families, it's kind of hard to come and listen to a whole classroom give, 20-some reports. So we do the Wax Museum. So they aren't going to say their entire report. They will come up here. We'll have them become statues. They have little buttons on their hands, and when we push the button, they come to life and they tell you just a little bit of information about their character. Anything else you think we can add?
No, that covers it. All right, so boys and girls, come on up here. Move, correct?
Yeah,
I think the whole thing can move.
Going to push it in the middle. I'll try to get the camera. This was the best lunch line I've ever seen, though, too. All the third graders were dressed in their stuff, and they were all holding lunch trays. I was like, wow, Abraham Lincoln's hungry today. That's good.
Can we go to the other end and start? Wardrobe malfunction. Here we go. All right, take a minute and just, oh. All right, here we go. We'll start with this guy right here.
Hi, my name is Abraham Lincoln. I was born February 12, 1809 in Kentucky. In 1818, my mother died of milk sickness. In 1834, I was elected into the Illinois State Legislature. In 1845, I became a congressman. In 1861, I was elected president. In 1862, I presented my Emancipation Proclamation. In 1863, I freed the slaves and spoke my Gettysburg Address. In 1865, I ended the Civil War and became the first president to be assassinated.
Hi, I'm Simone Bowes. I was born March 14th in 1997 in Columbus, Ohio. When I was 6 years old, my grandparents enrolled me in a daycare center. On a field trip, I learned about gymnastics. On October 13, 2019, I became one of the most decorated gymnasts in the World Championships with 25 medals. I have 5 of these named after me, and one of them is called the Bows too. Hi, my name is Bethany Hamilton. At 9 years old, I received my major sponsor rib curl. At 9 years old, I was considered an accomplished surfer. When I was 13 years old, I went surfing with my best friend Alana when a 14-foot tiger shark bit my left arm off. I returned to surfing within a month of the attack. In 2005, my autobiography was released, all about me. Hi, my name is Harriet Tellenborn. My younger years they call me Minty. I was born between 1820 and 1821. I wanted to go north from I was free from slavery. I was willing to risk my life to save other slaves from slavery. In 1913, I died because of pneumonia. To this day, I want to be remembered for my courage to save other slaves from slavery as a conductor on the Underground Railroad. And I hope you learned a little something about my life. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Leonardo da Vinci. I was with a famous painter named Andrea del Verrocchio. In 1495, I agreed to paint The Last Supper, showing the story of Jesus' last meal. Based on my studies of toes and their shells, I drew blueprints for army tanks. In 1503, I painted the Mona Lisa. I used my favorite technique, fumato. This technique helps make the painting smile so soft and mysterious. I lived a full life as an artist, musician, scientist, architect, engineer, and dentist.
So,
As you can imagine, we're all so proud. I mean, this was just a small sampling, but we were all so proud of them all. They all did an amazing job. Every year they rise to it and just knock my socks off. They're amazing. One more round of applause.
that's a great job. And I think it is proof that their kids can come with an on-off button. It's possible.
Thank you, Mrs. Fueling and Mrs. Coop. I commend you. It's a great job.
We have the easy part. They do the hard part.
Yeah, that's great. How many participants altogether did you have?
All 39 of the third graders.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
I wish I had been here.
Yeah.
I saw the sign, and that was after the fact, that they had done that. I wish I had been here.
Next year.
That's incredible. Thank you all.
Thank you. This is such a treat for us,
Yeah.
you guys doing this, and we get to see what you do. My grandson was, I think, Albert Einstein. And he had a lot of fun, too. So you guys did an amazing job. It's great. Keep it up.
Thank you so much.
Johnny broke the on-off button.
That's it. Thank you, nice job. And we obviously will let them, they can hang out if they want, or they can go home and get some rest and enjoy their evening. It's really beautiful outside. Thanks for coming.
This famous thing right on so long. Callie is 26. She was James in all her year, and she got to go see James without speaking in person.
Oh, wow.
Oh, and it just gave me.
So sometimes these kids get to meet her.
Yeah, right? He does.
That's great. You have chills? Yeah, that just gave me chills. My kid loved it. He loved it. So.
I would have gone, but it was in Chicago, and I don't try to.
I think I did my autobiography as a sophomore in high school.
So that was a great presentation.
Yes.
Next, we move to the public portion of the meeting. Members of the public wishing to address the board on any topic related to the agenda are required to complete a public input form before the beginning of the meeting, as well as announce their name, address, and relationship within the school community. Who's our first?
Is there a time?
2 minutes.
2 minutes? Okay.
Ally, you do the time?
We'll be taking
Oh, you do the time. All right. So Jeff Peterson, Raymond School Foundation. Which I feel like is-
My name is Jeff Peterson, and I've been associated with the Raymond School for the last 50 years as a student, community member, employee. I want to thank the Raymond School Foundation for continuing to support the Jill Peterson Memorial Scholarship, which will be presented later this week. In my work with the foundation, I've always found them to be respectful, responsible, and so supportive of the Raymond School community. If you'd like to support the scholarship and the work the foundation does, you may visit raymondschoolfoundation.org. My comments are related to the financial health of the district. I was surprised that after attending the April Finance Committee, there was no mention of hiring an additional financial manager, a search process, a conversation with the neighboring district, or even the possibility of options to address the financial concerns of the district. I'm afraid that behavior reeks of the lack of transparency, even though the district's claims to have improved transparency. Surely the district will benefit from a licensed business official, even if it is part-time. I got to know Jeff Genovese as he was starting his journey toward licensure, and I was able to hire him full-time in the school district of Yorkville. I remember during his interview, the board president asked why he was considering the rural district. He replied something like he was only considering Yorkville because of his knowledge that Jeff Peterson worked there. After we hired him, I introduced the idea of loan defeasance. Initially, he said he didn't think it could be done, but I recommended he pursue a conversation with Bayer to eventually confirm not only the possibility, but the good decision that defeasance would be. The media recently reported how the board selection of Mike Garvey has continued to cause devastating rippling effects in the district. The same article noted that Dr. Gray, a known financial fixer, was considered for the very same position but was not selected by the board. Jeremy Childers stated in an email dated June 22, 2022, that Gray's fiscal responsibility and community engagement was unmatched. He went on to reference that Gray even answered Costage's question about funding strings being tied to transgender bathrooms to her satisfaction. Childers informs the rest of the board in an email that Gray too was only considering Raymond because he has been impressed by Jeff Peterson and his ability to be a builder. Gray would only consider Raymond because he believed Jeff Peterson could build a great school and he wanted to be a part of that. I wonder if the board has ever reflected on what else Garvey messed up besides the finances. Did his presence have anything to do with the mass resignation of beloved staff? Perhaps his leadership in the event of December 6th was also a result of his incompetence. Thank you.
Please keep in mind that topics to be discussed are on the agenda. Next.
Jennifer Rybar.
I am Jennifer Rybar. I'm a taxpayer as well as a former school board member when we were able to balance the budget every year. Tonight's treasurer's report shows that the board president used district funds to consult with legal counsel to silence the Raymond community who seeks accountability from the school board for its mismanagement and poor financial decisions. Raymond taxpayers hear from the superintendent and the board a fairy tale of increasing transparency, but when they believe no one is watching, they turn around and pay an attorney to avoid it and run from accountability. Please tell the Raymond community why this board and administration seeks to silence taxpayers seeking accountability. Tonight's treasurer's report also tells us that Gwen Keller continues to be involved with concessions at the school. The same person who, as a board member, misappropriated $5,000 of district funds for the purpose of Booster Club concessions. She is the same person who, again, as a board member, is primarily responsible for the school overspending more than $1 million last year. She was never held to account for these misdeeds, but merely resigned and walked away. What kind of leadership believes it is a wise decision to allow an individual under such a cloud of shame for wrongdoing anywhere near concessions or any involvement, for that matter, with school financial resources? This past January, the auditor from Lucida reported the need to improve on the internal controls surrounding the district's financial affairs. A decision to allow a person with a track record of misappropriating district funds to again have access to concessions, speaking to the lack of commitment to improve the financial affairs of Raymond. We should all anticipate hearing from Lucida auditor this year the lack of progress on corrective action plan and a continuing need to improve upon the financial affairs of the district. And I also wanted to address to the community member from last month's meeting that several of us should actually run for the school board, and just wanted to let you know that 3 former school board members did make that attempt and refused any help from the young board. So yes, we have been at meetings and we tried once again.
I have a question question for you regarding my use of legal. Can you clarify that?
It's in the packet for the meeting tonight under the report that the school board, that you used funds from the school association for asking about how to conduct the meeting with the community. It's in there listed for like $40, $45. I can't remember the exact amount, but
I don't know, was that
it was under the Wisconsin Association of
$40
Schools.
WASB, a call to?
was a phone call to Bob Bud.
Bob Butler, yeah.
And that was regarding meeting protocol.
Right.
Nothing to do with you.
Correct. Oh, well, the public comment meeting protocol.
Okay.
So we're entitled to use an attorney for calls, and so sometimes it's covered under consultation, sometimes it's not, and so the $45 charge was evident on the bill.
I mean, being a board, I mean, wouldn't you know how to conduct a meeting with the?
That's why we have legal
Right.
included in our membership.
Right.
Yeah, but you've
So-
been president for 4 years.
Exactly.
Move to the next one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Doré?
Board just approved a treasurer's report having just over $1.3 million in cash in the bank on April 30th. How confident are you that that report is accurate? Assuming this report is correct, why did the board ask for an additional $2.1 million from taxpayers when the treasurer's report doesn't show a need? The report shows plenty of cash on hand to meet district needs. Why did the board adopt a resolution in February to borrow up to $1 million from Community State Bank for short-term needs? The treasurer's report has not reported any use of this loan, and it appears we will be completing the school year without that need. Financial challenges in April and May are due to low cash on hand. Tonight's treasurer report states May starts with over $1.3 million in cash. Let's assume May has $600,000 of expenses and would still end the month at about $700,000 in the bank to tonight's report. The district receives open enrollment revenue and final state aid payments in June amounting to over $1 million in revenue. We can estimate that the district will end the year with well over $500,000 in the bank. Why is there no report of drawing on the short-term loan? If you have, where is it reported? The treasurer's report clearly shows no need to borrow anything through the end of the fiscal year. What is really happening with these numbers? I don't believe the treasurer's report for the last several months are accurate. You talk about transparency, so let's get to the bottom of this issue. I'm making a public records request. I would like the district to provide a copy of all bank statements for the district accounts with Community State Bank dated April 30th, 2025. Those statements will answer if tonight's treasurer's report is correct. Lack of transparency, lack of fiscal responsibility is evident at this point in time.
Pete,
Would you like to respond to that?
I would love to. First of all, if you want transparency, I have not received one phone call, one email, nothing from the public on this.
Well, I did make an open records report in January that never made it to the website.
So, I have not received any. If you want questions answered, I am the one you should come to. Now, if you want to question my accuracy on these numbers, you go right ahead. But they're damn straight.
Well, then why isn't he reporting them? I've asked for him, he does not answer me, he answers me in emails, we go round and round with stuff until the point where it's just not worth even talking anymore.
Well,
That's
call
why I'm asking
me.
Yeah,
for
you can come at any point. We had a meeting 4 days ago, no one came.
That's because you didn't announce it where people saw it. You wait.
I followed the state statute on posting a meeting.
And when did you?
In
report
all
it?
the spots.
Because I checked on Tuesday and there was no meeting.
We posted it in accordance with the state law,
Right.
as we always do. DeRay,
Why can't,
You're
why
welcome to
can't
come.
you post this stuff ahead of time so people can make plans?
you didn't listen to what I just said. I posted it
I know.
on the appropriate
But-
day, 24 hours notice.
24 hours notice. So in other words.
So we just don't follow laws?
If
We
we
don't
want
have
to
to
know
follow
what's
laws?
going on in the district, we
Thank
have
you,
to
Mr.
check
Peterson.
the website every night. Every
Right.
night we have to check.
No one came.
I
So,
was going
again,
to come.
But you didn't. So Pete, if you want to explain, because there is a character question here. You've been a business manager, and I think it's fair for the person that's being assumed that he's doing something to cook our books, have a chance to defend himself. I think he should have a chance to talk.
You just
I did not
basically
use the
said.
word book the books.
No.
You're correct, you
But
did
it was
not.
definitely
And that's what you
implied
tried
that
to
those
imply
numbers are
on
not
this
accurate.
board and on this.
Then prove to me they are.
We've
Because
given you
I.
that.
Then come to a meeting, not a public meeting. Set up a meeting with us and talk.
In your last board, the last time the financial meeting was held, you stated that it would be, the next meeting would be the Thursday before the regular scheduled meeting, which is Thursday of this week.
And you have to check a calendar. We're at the regularly scheduled meeting.
You changed the
Thursday,
schedule.
because state statute required me to change it for teacher approval of
So
contracts.
then why did you
It's
change
all out
that?
there.
Why didn't you change that and tell us?
I did. We sent a notice of meeting change a week and a half before this meeting. Got to keep up.
I'm talking about the financial meeting.
We held the financial meeting on the Thursday prior to this meeting, which was last week, Thursday, because we're in the meeting.
And you said at the meeting, the next regularly scheduled meeting.
This
not
is a regularly scheduled board meeting.
This is a different date.
Okay.
All right, so now I would like to answer the question about the loan.
Sure.
There are 2 times in a school year typically that you need to use that loan, June and November. Cash flow, as I've explained multiple times in public and in private, goes on a very unusual curve in schools.
And I know that.
Then why are you saying in April, when we have cash flow, that we don't need a loan? We need the loan in June, not in April. April, we're good. August, we're great.
So then what about all the funds that are coming in, almost $1 million that'll come in June?
After we make payroll June 15th, they will come in the 3rd week of June. That's that time where you run out of cash flow. And again, a simple phone call, Ray, I can answer your questions, but you don't reach out. You want to make a spectacle in front of everybody instead of getting the answer you want.
I have reached out. And if
Me, I'm the business official. I will get you your numbers.
Anytime I asked, Mr. Leach said, anytime you need anything, come to me. That is what he has always said to me, and I have come to him, and he goes round and around with things. And you look at my last open records request, how long it took.
We can look at your last 36 open records requests, Ray, because you're exhausting with this stuff. If you didn't have records requests of 16 items that take days to pull, you get a better response. Come talk to us anytime. You skipped the last financial meeting and you're playing semantics with when I had the date. That's fine. You come, you grandstand. We get it. I understand. I am doing the best I can here with the board that I have and the community I have. This is a great place. And every time you stand up, you make it sound like the sky is absolutely falling. We are in financial dire straits here. We are. We're not making that up. And you'll see it as we go through everything as the year goes. But we have an obligation to our people to make payroll.
Okay.
If we
Right
don't,
now,
if we
in
don't
front of
make
both of you,
payroll,
pick a date
people quit.
Other than a Thursday during the day,
Tomorrow, 9 a.m.
tomorrow 9 a.m.
Wednesday, 9 a.m. Thursday, 9 a.m. Friday, 9 a.m. Saturday, I'll come give you a half day.
Friday 9 a.m. and I'll come prepared.
Friday, 9 a.m.
Okay.
Not a problem.
Next up is Jennifer Hansen.
Hello, I'm Jennifer Hansen. I live at 6300 West 5 Mile Road, just a mile down here from school. I do hope this hits the agenda the way you guys want it to. I wrote this before I was really aware of that, but I do think it still applies. Okay, back in October, I had addressed the board on the subject of communication. I am very pleased to see that the board and administration team has a newsletter available to everyone in the community. Thank you so much for starting the process of communicating better. But I think there are more ways to improve communication between the school board and the community. My first idea has to do with committee meetings. I think these meetings are an important time that you could get feedback and ideas from community members that attend. Right now, there's not a time for public comment, and I don't think that you need to allow that formally, but asking community attendees what they think is a great way to get information in a less formal way, and it gives community members a way to give opinions in a less formal way. My second idea is to make the strategic planning meetings that are coming up a regular monthly meeting and invite members of the community to be on this committee, much like the town board does at the planning commission. My third idea actually comes from a past school board member. Janelle Wise and I spoke after the last meeting about communication, and she mentioned the idea she had about having a town hall style meeting monthly before regular board meetings. It would not have a quorum, but board members would take turns running these informal meetings on a chosen subject. My understanding is that there used to be round tables in the 70s, 80s, and 90s here in Raymond, and that gave the public a chance to discuss ideas and problems concerning the community and the school. Obviously, there are many details to be thought out, and I can't cover them in 2 minutes, but I hope you can take these beginnings of ideas and help to keep improving the communication with the entire Raymond School District and community. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Are there any others? Nope, that's it. So that concludes our public portion of the meeting. We'll move to old business, and there is no old business to discuss at this meeting. And then on to new business. So first up is committee structures and assignments for board members. So to give you just a little bit of knowledge about the committees that we have in place, we now have 5 of them, and we have finance, and the purpose of the finance committee is to grow the capacity of board members and provide the opportunity for the business office and the board to discuss and plan for the budget year. Committee members in a scheduled meeting will review the treasurer's report each month prior to the regular board meeting. For the finance committee, we have Ed Robinson and Keith Castenson. Next is facilities. The purpose of the facilities committee is develop and maintain a plan for all building and grounds projects related to our physical property. For the facilities committee, we'll have Mike Powers and Ed Robinson. Personnel. The purpose of the personnel committee is to assist in the development and management of our employee handbook and processes related to working conditions, salaries, and benefits for the staff at Raymond. We have limped along in this department due to resignations, and Patty was able to help Mike along with the handbook, but now we move on, and it will be Jennifer Gonzalez and myself. Curriculum. The purpose of the curriculum committee is to manage, review, and support all curricular choices and assessment approaches at Raymond to ensure our students receive a top-tier education. For the curricular committee will be Keith Castenson and Jenny Gonzalez. Policy. The purpose of the policy committee is to work with leadership and Neola to develop and maintain current policy that is compliant with state laws and regulations. The policy committee will be Mike Powers, who has served on it, and myself. We also have a CISA delegate, and this entails one meeting in May or early June. You'll get a packet from CISA number 2 that provides you with the agenda. Usually it involves an overview of their services. You will also cast a vote for their board of control. Mike, do we have a date yet on, have we heard anything from CISA 2 on a date for their annual?
They've got it coming up here shortly.
Okay, so our CISA delegate will be Jenny Gonzalez. Our WASB delegate,
June 17th, 7 p.m.
June 17th, 7 p.m. for CISA. Okay. Okay.
They're from the start.
Is this
That's CISA 2 delegate.
in Whitewater?
Yes.
The WASB delegate. This delegate attends the delegate assembly on the first afternoon of the Wisconsin State Education Conference at the Baird Center in Milwaukee. The delegate casts the vote for the district on the policy resolutions, which we receive in advance and go over. And he is our vote for the district, and that person will be Mike Powers. So that concludes our committee assignments. Do we need to approve that, or no? That's just
That's just it.
okay. All right. Next, we'll move on to the employee handbook. Mike, can you give us background on that?
So tonight, we're asking for employee handbook approval. I sent a draft to the board members. Our handbook has been a work in progress. Over the last 2+ years, there's been a couple of different iterations of the handbook that have worked their way around. It's all aligned with the WASB standard boilerplate handbook that's recommended with sections. It started at 117 pages. It's been whittled down now through wordsmithing and taking out redundancy, and we're at about 82 pages right now. I did not do that myself. We had a committee, the Raymond Work Conditions Committee, which is made up of teachers and a board member. In the past, it was Patty Wren. We met on several occasions, talked about health insurance, talked about the handbook, various things regarding, making sure staff understand the expectations of their daily work. So there's a couple of nuances that I think are important to point out, some handbook changes that are coming from this particular iteration. And again, this was vetted by 10 staff, set variety of vantage points, brand new teacher all the way to our most veteran teacher on the committee. Clarity on teacher attendance with after-school meetings and events was brought to light. Payroll adjustments, we're going to be having a payroll change to be paying out on the 5th and the 20th, starting July 1st, and that'll allow us to have better bank reconciliation alteration with our payroll dates. Personal days, use of personal days has become a hot topic in late years. We went from a couple of years ago, we had all personal days, and then we went to no personal days, or very few, and then we went to 4 now. So we've been at 4 personal days for a while, but some clarification about staff and their ability to use personal days. If they don't use them, they convert to sick bank, which is a change. Their staff are unable to use more than 2 consecutive days for personal time. There's new language on personal days used consecutively in the handbook. We updated the salary schedule. Additionally, we went through the teacher evaluation model. We're moving away from frontline My Learning Plan and going into the DPI eval framework that's being created next year. The reason for that is it's just more user-friendly and more cost-effective. The state is no longer going to be reimbursing school districts on their evaluation models, so to have a free alternative is really important because it was about $45 a person, and that was no longer going to be paid for by DPI. So again, in addition to this, there was also discussion about our health insurance that we'll go into in a little bit as well. But the handbook changes overall. There's nothing that's massively declarative changing from last year. Many of the sections are built with redundancies, and that's okay, but the staff actually asked that you just place that all in the first section, which is all employees, and then you don't have subsections that are massive, which is helpful. We also clarified on the title pages of each section who fits in each category, because not everyone understood that I'm a clerical hourly staff member with no benefits. So they don't quite identify themselves as that. So we were able to label the positions that would say, oh, that's a clerical position in the office. That's the person that would be in that category. So those are the changes made. Asking for the board to accept those changes and approve the handbook. It's an important move because tonight you'll also be approving teacher contracts, hence the reason why we moved the meeting to tonight, because of state statute, to get them done before the 15th. So the handbook should be approved, that way staff have a chance to know what they're signing into when they sign their contract.
So before we take a vote, I just want to make a comment. Oops. I just want to make a comment that I've served under 4 superintendents now, and each one had their own version of the employee handbook. It's been condensed, expanded, and now condensed again. So, if you've had time to read what Mike, it's lengthy, but, if we can move to make a motion.
And just for the record too, every district around us has a different version of it, so I pulled all the different versions around us, and they ranged from 30 pages at one district that's right nearby to almost 200 pages. So again, we're all over the map. It's a matter of just, what's important to us, what needs clarification, and then we move forward.
I make a motion to approve the employee handbook for the 25-26 year.
I second it.
We have a motion and a second to approve the 2025-2026 employee handbook as presented. Any other discussion on it?
I have a question. Since they both said they seconded, am I putting both of them on it, or who actually is the second? Because Ed said it and so did Keith, kind of at the same time.
There you go, Keith's got it. I think they just touched their nose.
Thank you, Ally. So we have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, we move to employee health insurance. And Mike, you can...
Yes, in addition to all of our recent staffing changes, layoffs, discussions, resignations, it's been a busy month here at Raymond. We also had to negotiate our health insurance, and it's tricky because some would say, why are you doing this now? We really have no control over the timeline, and it always ends up happening now. So staffing and handbooks and all of this stuff just tends to happen in the spring season. So we work with R&R. They're wonderful to work with. Chris is our rep, and he met back with us in January. Well, he met with our staff with the Raymond Work RWCC, the group I was telling you about with the handbook. Met with them on December 3rd to talk about our current insurance, what the market is for insurance, different types of insurance, trying to inform us about what's out there. We know one thing, insurance is going up. It's going up everywhere. It's a matter of how much that you can stomach within your budgets. And it's all a matter of how your group performs. Well, problem is we don't find out how we perform until May. And that's intentional by the health insurance companies because we're small. We don't get a lot of information as timely as some of the larger players. So we went round and round with our provider, received an initial offer of 14.1 that then became an offer of 9.9. Magically, 5 percentage points dropped off. Not sure how that magic works, but there it was. We then went to market at 9.9 because we felt like that still wasn't a good enough number. Why? Because our employee group actually performed better on our overall health insurance than last year. So we felt like we actually had a leg to stand on for negotiating. So at 9.9, we reached out to market, went to market, several offers were brought back, and that's when the real bidding began, which is really exciting because I'm happy to say, after multiple iterations of negotiations and conversations and data, we were able to negotiate a 1.8% increase. It does involve a change to Anthem from United Healthcare, but Anthem has agreed to a 1.8% increase, which is, some would say, well, you're still having an increase. Yes. But when you start at 14.1, 1.8 is pretty good. Our future market with Baird had us based off of a 15% increase, so we're feeling pretty good about that right now. In addition to the change to Anthem, it would be reducing our current deductibles from $612 to $4,500, $9,000. Our co-insurance would then pay 70% of the max. And missing here?
The only other thing would be the HRA, HSA.
You want to talk to that?
Okay, so currently we budget about $100,000 for the HRA. Instead of doing an HRA, we are recommending that we switch to an HSA. HSA is a health savings account that goes to the employee, no matter if they use it or not, it's their money to keep, rather than an HRA, which they have to use in order to get reimbursed. So it's a better benefit for the employee. Because of the budget that was there of $100,000 and the savings of $84,056 that was allocated for health insurance. We are recommending that a 1,500, 3,000 HSA go to employees to help with their deductibles.
So each member gets the same amount.
Correct.
So that's how you get to 60,000.
Correct. There's 10 single units right now and 15 family units.
So currently, we were offering an HRA, 3,000, 5,000 for single and family. So we are reducing the amount for the HSA, but the benefit of the HSA is the employee can keep that for future health insurance, use on their own, and they keep it. Whereas the HRA was a use it or lose it phenomena. So the employee group that I talked to was very happy about this because it allows them to have a little versatility and some the ability to navigate their own health insurance, health savings. A majority of our veteran staff here have an HSA because apparently we used to have an HSA years ago, and we stopped having the HSA a handful of years ago. So to move back to that for them is a good head snap that they're looking forward to.
It's also beneficial from a budget standpoint because it's a fixed number, whereas the HRA, we don't know. I mean, we had to budget for the max because you don't know what's going to come in.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yep.
With the increase in 1.8%, what does that look like?
$11,732.40.
You knew I was going to ask that.
That's the
All right.
total. Now, because we do a 90-10 split, the district is actually responsible for $10,559.16 of that.
Okay.
So the total for all the insurance premiums for the district is $640,419.20.
And we ensured that all digits were accounted for in that number because of some errors in the past that simply cannot ever be repeated. Our overall cost for the budget that was in our forecast model that we were communicating throughout the whole referendum process was anticipated to be $94,616. That's an increase of $94,000 because of the 15% we were kind of anticipating. Because that didn't happen, that's where we're saying that we're saving, even though we're not saving. Saving would be below zero, but we have a 1.8, so the difference between 15% and 1.8 is amassing us about $84,056 available for other usage and assignment in our budget. So that's a good position to be in. And again, we're very pleased that we're even able to bring the deductibles down into a more manageable realm and provide the employee benefit of an HSA. Any other, did I miss anything? And if you're wondering, for those that are playing along at home, this was not in your board packet. Why? Because those numbers came to me on Sunday morning. That's right, Mother's Day. I had to explain it to my wife as to why I was working, but she understood. Because again, these things happen in pretty real time. If anyone has any questions about that or would like to talk, we do have a financial meeting. It's the first Wednesday or Thursday, depending on whatever week we're doing it. It's the week prior to our normally scheduled regular board meeting.
So I'd like to commend our business manager and my first superintendent for being diligent in shopping this, and our rep from R&R. I think he worked in our advantage, and I think this is probably a win-win for our district and all those taking the insurance.
I do want to point out that in the future, we will have to examine other insurance models from fully insured to level funded to ICRA to captive insurance. Those are all portions of what was brought up in the December 3rd meeting with our staff, because the fully insured member benefits game is a tricky one right now, and it's only getting worse. So in the future, we do have some levers and things we can pull. And with our new person at the helm, Jeff Genovese's got some ideas and things from other places he's been. So we're looking forward to next year of having another productive year as well.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
I'll make a motion to approve Anthem option 1. Health insurance.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the employee health insurance with Anthem option 1 as presented. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion Motion carries. Next is a committee report. We only had one, and that's the Finance Committee. You ready for that yet? Okay.
So, we held a meeting on Thursday, May 8th at 9 a.m. I was not physically available, but I had called in, and we proceeded forth with the meeting. Pete reported, as he did tonight, that we spent more than we took in, which is typical for April. That we paid our last payment of the 5-year loan from Community State Bank of roughly $54,000. This was a loan for energy efficiency in 2020. Let's see. We walked through some of the checks and the accounts payable. We had some discussion with regards to that. Pete and Mike answered all those questions without an issue. And health insurance renewal, we touched a little bit about that, and at that point, we were talking about hoping to get down to 10%. But obviously, Mike and Pete worked diligently, as Audrey had mentioned, and they got us a better deal. So that's, obviously, their heart's in the right place, trying to do all the right things, save money. That's a good thing. Our next Finance Committee meeting will be prior to our June 12th meeting, where we'll be on June 12th at 9 a.m. And at that point, it'll be published in all the right places. We don't know what comes up sometimes. Sometimes people can make it, in which case we'll have the meeting then. Other times, maybe we can't make it for personal reasons or whatever, and we'd have to adjust that timing. That's why it's published. We plan early, and it may have to be changed later. We don't know. And we adjourned the meeting about 40 minutes later. That's it.
Okay. Thank you, Ed. Next, we move to administrative reports, and first up is the superintendent's report, Mr. Leach.
Sorry, I have to change screens here because my notes are on my computer. Great spot for them. All right, it's been a great week, a month, week, I don't even know, lots of time. Many things to be thankful for and shout out to. Tonight, actually, when she was here, Mrs. Fueling's probably the best example. She had a trip to DC, followed by all this work with the Wax Museum, followed by additional high-interest day responsibilities. So it's just the cadence our teachers work with this time of year. It's very busy. So amazing things are coming out, but we've all realized now there's about 4 weeks left. And all of a sudden, everybody starts to get worried because there's only 4 weeks left. So that's where we sit. Staff Appreciation Week was last week. It was a great celebration of our staff, thanks to the collaboration with the board, providing breakfast, as well as our PTO. The board donated the breakfast. There was no charge for the breakfast. PTO was able to get donations, and our administrative team also paid for our staff to have treats last week. It was a great week. We should call it the I Gained 10 Pounds week, but it's a lot of fun for our staff and lots of great things. We had a couple of private donations from parents who paid for our pizza, which was awesome, and even donated some Packer tickets. So we have great, very generous parents and staff here. We received high praise from the Sheriff's Department for our practice evacuation completed a few weeks ago. We were able to debrief and meet about the positives and the areas to work on for next time. This was the first time that we can ever have on record of leaving the building and going to our evacuation site, which is a next practice in school safety. I really believe it's really important for the kids to be comfortable enough with, if they have to leave here, where do they go, and they feel safe in knowing that. It's different times we live in, unfortunately, that we even have to talk about that with little ones, but it's better for us to know and for us to work it through. Lastly, we're in the process of planning the end of year professional development and graduation for our wonderful 8th graders. The next time we meet here on the 16th of June at our regularly scheduled meeting, we will be having a great group of 8th graders that are no longer. So I want to congratulate our class of 2025 in their endeavors as they head on to high school. Most, if not all, are going to Union Grove, which is exciting. Some are maybe going to a few other smalls around the area, private schools. But want to just also informally invite the board to the graduation on June 9th at 6 p.m. in the gym. It's a great send-off, and then of course we have many fun activities and field trips coming up as the year wraps up. Thanks to all of our staff for working through those final details of the school year.
Okay, thank you. Mrs. Marty, teaching and learning.
Okay. We thought we were going in a different order. We're good. We have sent out information to all incoming 6th, 7th, and 8th grade families about electives. So we worked pretty hard on figuring out how to still give our kids exactly what they need while facing cuts to some teachers and their time. So what we were able to do is all 6th grade students will have 1 semester of art and 1 semester of health. They will also take PE all year in addition to band or choir. They must choose between the two. 7th and 8th graders will take 1 semester of STEAM and 1 of art. They will also take Phi Ed in choir or band, as I just described. So that has been sent out to parents, and they are filling out the information. I sent a separate email. I'm thinking we're going to have to do some follow-ups because I didn't get all the responses yet, but that's okay. So that's kind of what it's going to look like next year for our middle school students.
Is there a deadline for the,
I don't think I gave a deadline.
granddaughter's cage on that?
Okay. Yeah, I don't think I gave it.
I don't know whether that has not been a discussion, so.
Yeah.
So you do or don't have a deadline?
I really don't.
Okay.
I think it would be great to have, I'll resend with a deadline and probably make it right after Memorial Day.
Okay.
Yep.
But your granddaughter's deadline is Friday.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, we are in the process of renewing our ed tech needs for next year. Some of this comes out of our library fund, which Pete talked about, and we're very lucky to have that, and some of it comes out of our Fund 10. We'll again be trying to be cost conscious when making decisions. The survey was sent to staff, and then we took look at our usage on the programs to see which ones were really getting our best bang for our buck on. Summer school scheduling is in full swing. We're excited to say we have 136 students signed up, which is 16 more than last year. For the first time, we'll be offering a U-Fly phonics class to any student that is currently on a reading plan. That's part of the Act 20, what you need to do in the summer for students who still are below the 25th percentile. Last week, all of our 8th graders took their math placement tests, which will determine which math class they will take at high school, algebra, pre-algebra, or geometry, and we have 1 student that took a geometry test, and he may be able to get in algebra 2. Very excited about that. That's it.
Mrs. Marty, what are the dates for summer school?
It starts on the 12th, and it goes to July 2nd.
July 2nd, okay.
We're squeezing in 3 weeks. We're gonna wave goodbye to the kids, and then they come back.
Is it
2 days.
Is it Monday through Friday?
It is.
Okay.
Yep.
And is that half days?
7:30 to 12:30.
Okay. Oh, okay, a little bit more than half. Okay, thank you.
So the kids should come with a snack, because that's a long 5-hour, they have to have water and snacks.
Yes,
That's it, yeah, gotta water them and feed them.
Okay, thank you. Next is our Dean of Students report from Mrs. Bratton.
Okay, so we hosted our last senior breakfast of the year, which is traditionally a senior lunch. So the 8th grade students manned the grill, and they made hot dogs and burgers, and it was very much successful. Next, and then we, of course, had the Wax Museum for entertainment because it's so popular. Next year, we are going to lessen our senior breakfast. We're going to shorten them to every other month. So you'll see that there are going to be 4 next year. That is because of reduction of staffing, and I currently run that, and I'm going to be back in the classroom. So we're going to cut it down to 4. I did put some flyers out by the door if anybody wants to grab it on their way out with those 4 dates for next year. We also are excited to host the fall musical, which is typically what we've done is a musical in the fall, although typically we wouldn't do a musical back to back. But Miss Allie Walsh is all on board, and she's announced that we are going to do the Little Mermaid Junior, and we will be having live shows on September 10th, which is a Saturday, at 2 and 6 p.m. There'll be a little dinner for the cast in between those two shows, and then we will have an additional show on Sunday, September 11th at 2 p.m. that will then allow time for the cast and families to stay after and help Miss Walsh with the cleanup before school then starts Monday. So it's really difficult to find a time that we can use the gym for such a big production because our gym is used for so many different occasions. So shout out to Allie Walsh and Jamie Wolf for working together to try to find a time that worked with sports and allows the students to participate in both. Auditions are coming up. I don't know the exact date yet, but there will be auditions already starting this year, and then rehearsals will take place during the summertime. So students will be in our building all summer, which is exciting. I just want to mention our work with the therapy dogs is continuing. It's been really successful. We have 2 different groups that come in, one group on Tuesday, Thursday, and another group on Monday, Wednesday. One of our groups, our Monday, Wednesday, is actually a community member who lives just right down the road, and she brings in her little wiener dog, Pilot. That is a fan favorite of everybody, so shout out to Pilot. And I just want to throw this out there. We are very lucky to be working with an organization that generally would charge for such a service, but they have donated it as part of my grad school research, but also as a donation to our school. So I just want to throw it out there. If anybody's interested in donating to Positive Pathways, that's the nonprofit organization that funds all of this, and they do take open donations. So I promised that I would help get that information out, and we'll continue posting about that on our social media as well. And then High Interest Day. We had High Interest Day last week. It's famous around here. It was great. I walked around. It was beautiful weather. Everybody was engaged, and shout out to Mrs. Fueling and Miss Vogie because they put a lot of time and energy into scheduling everything for everybody and organizing all of our volunteers. So thanks to them. And then it was kind of mentioned, but Miss Fueling and Miss Goodrich also take 4 days out of their life to take a bunch of 7th and 8th graders to Washington, D.C. And they did that about 2 weeks ago. I've heard amazing things from the kids and the staff. It's always interesting to see kids outside of school and how they really show up in different ways. And I heard really great positive feedback from the staff and the students. So I just want to say thank you to those teachers who do not get paid extra to go on this trip, but they do it on their own time. And we appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Rothman. I do want to just make a comment regarding the musical. The past musical is in digital form, and if you have not seen it, which I have not, and I have been asking Allie to get me digital, please email her if you're interested in doing that, because I heard nothing but raves about it. And this is what we're about. This. So, thank you. Next, we move to board member comments.
Well, it's been 1 year for me. I ran for the board because of trying to get clarification on everything that was going on. My daughter and son wanted me to do it because they didn't have the time, because when you got young kids, you don't have the time. So Grandpa had to do it. So I decided to do that, and I got voted in. And I got almost a half a dozen grandkids here. Some will cycle out in 8th grade, some more is going to cycle in kindergarten. So, and it's probably going to keep going now for another 5 years or so. I then got on to the facility committee because I thought maybe, I heard a lot of things about boilers and mechanical and blah, blah, blah. Went through a lot of that with Bob and Mike, and there were possibly cost savings that, I could help bring to the table or at least investigate. And I will say that Mike did a lot of that, and now we've instituted the data wrangler program, which would hopefully save us some dollars in electricity costs. Going to LED to tackle the focus on energy to help save dollars. They've gone out and looked at other places to get grant money. I know Pete's been looking at a couple of different things and brought in some stuff that way, which helps, right? Over this year, there have been a host of changes, whether it be part of the administration staff, whether it be within the school, or within the board, or within the community, I think. I also became the treasurer. Lucky me. And again, of course, I didn't. Yeah, thank you. But we did that, and I was excited to do that because obviously there's always been things said and stated and blah, blah, blah. And I don't know why, but I have never, ever seen any indication of funds being spent foolishly. If they are spent, they are for the kids. It is funding and expenditures in the school system is so much different than in the commercial world or industrial world, in the company that I work for. But I will say that Pete and Mike have worked tirelessly to make sure that our funds are where they're supposed to be, make sure we get the funding that we need. We had to make some hard decisions, obviously, because the referendum didn't come through. So I'm hoping that all the old stuff is behind us. I know that these guys work very hard on transparency. I just want to also say that a lot of the comments that I hear, I'm not going to say all, but a lot of them have nothing to do with the last year that I've been on this board. They've been prior to that. And why we continue to go back in time, we all know things went a little haywire, maybe a lot haywire, don't know, because I wasn't involved, but still, we're commenting about things that happened a long time ago, and it continues to upset the community, and I take a lot of that stuff to heart, and it bothers me, but I just want to say, these comments that folks want to bring to the table, make them relevant to our time now, make them relevant to what's right for the kids. Obviously, I will take any recommendation from anybody and vet it out and see if it's worthwhile. I know that's a couple of things that have been pointed out to me, and we make sure that we do them. And I transfer that information on to Mike and to Pete, and they're very acceptable. The whole staff. I mean, I just can't get over Mrs. Brockman and Marty and Allie and how all of them just treat me well. And I can't say that I just love them all. They're all good, great people. Nobody's trying to pull any wool over anybody's eyes, and we're all trying to do the right things. So I guess with that, we'll see what the next year brings, hopefully. So that's all.
Thank you, Ed. Any other comments?
Yeah.
Mike?
Just to piggyback off of that for 1 second before I get on to more positive things, you know, it is kind of, this board is kind of, you know, we got brand new members that this is their first week. We've got 2 members here that have been here a year or just over a year. All these comments that keep coming back at us, oh, this board did this, but this isn't the same board. And you people need to realize that and come to us like we're not that same board. We are open, we are here to talk, but we have never had community members come, oh, we can help with it, oh, here's some advice for you. Not once has that happened. And if you guys want us to take advice, you have to at least come to us with it and not just sit there and say you're doing it, and it's never been there. So on that note, I would like to get on to more positive things and go on to say, hey, thank you to the staff and the administration for all the hard work they've been doing, trying to get us saving money, figuring out ways to get through this tough time with not having the money, and being able to restructure everything to get our education back to where it needs to be for Raymond and try to keep our standards up there high. And I am also looking forward to the end of the year stuff coming up. I know we got the eighth grade graduation, but also the 4K because I get to be the parent in the audience for that one as well as everything else. And seeing all the children out playing baseball right now out and back. I got my 5 minutes before I got to run the meeting, the coach at the beginning of our school year. It's just really good to see all the kids coming in and the positivity from the parents and everything out there and getting the kids involved with something that Raymond's always been known for, and that's our baseball fields and our baseball community. So, you know, thank you to all the parents and the family and the staff and everything for all the positivity that has been coming lately, despite everything else that has been said.
Thank you, Mike. Jennifer? Steve? Okay. I'd like to make a few comments in regard to public comments. Nothing in our policy nor Wisconsin statutes state that we must allow public comments on our agendas, but we do. We appreciate feedback, as there have been some good suggestions that come from these comments, i.e., moving our annual meeting date to be held in mid-October allows us to present a better budget, as we have a clearer picture of our revenue for the school year. Thank you, Jennifer Hansen, for bringing this suggestion forward. Or Duray's suggestion to have more detail on the check register in the treasurer's report, providing more transparency on how money is being spent. Thank you, Duray. All of these suggestions in your comments have helped improve how we operate in this district. However, I must also speak to the grandstanding that has been happening at our school board meetings. This grandstanding, and that's a term that could be Googled, is inappropriate and has been presented in malice and personal attacks and is plain destructive, and it must stop. If it continues, you will be interrupted. Please don't abuse the courtesy of the public comment portion of this meeting. Now, I'd like to clarify some misconceptions of things I have said previously and information that has been shared by another that has been misconstrued. Jennifer Rybar, you have stated twice in your comments in the last 2 months that I have said you were toxic. I would challenge you to prove that my comment was directed at you. Here are my exact words. I believe our online recording will confirm this. Quote, "You may not agree with the board's decision, but that decision removed toxicity from the building." Unquote. I hope you understand the difference in that statement and what you took personally. You also touted that the voters in our April election delivered a resounding defeat to our referendum question. Let me ask you this: who won? Next, I live in Raymond Heights. Recently, I became aware Raymond Heights has a Facebook page. It's a small group of houses, probably 40 to 45 people are on this Facebook page. I do not have a social media presence, nor do I want one, but my husband does. I asked if he would join so we could be aware of our neighborhood happenings. He did, and imagine my surprise when he showed me a post made by Dore Moonen, who happens to live 4 houses away from me. Her post stated that Raymond School lost $275,000 in state aid for the current school year due to the board's overspending in the prior year. Here's the truth to the misconstrued posting. Yes, our state aid has been reduced over the last couple of years, but state aid is only, and I emphasize only, reduced when real estate property values rise. Raymond residents were recently reassessed, we will see an increase on the coming December tax bill. The school board or district have nothing to do with reassessments, whether it be state or local. And to insinuate that the state aid was reduced for punitive reasons is wrong, spiteful, and certainly has hurt our district. I hope, Dore, that you will correct this misinformation you have put out there. I only wish I was aware of this when it was posted. Perhaps the damage it created could have been avoided. Our neighbors deserve the truth. This is a great community, a great school, a great staff with great students. I would hope you all would and will concentrate on constructive ideas to move our district forward and leave all the hateful rhetoric and negativity behind. Next, we move to announcements, and I would like to invite the community to the strategic planning sessions that are scheduled on June 4th. It's a Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. It runs for approximately 2 hours, or is scheduled for 2 hours. And also June 14th, which is a Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. There'll be a mailer. There was a mailer that was sent out over the weekend to Landon mailboxes this week regarding that. Our next scheduled regular meeting is June 16th, it's a Monday, at 6:30 p.m. At this time, the board may convene in closed session according to Wisconsin statutes 19.851C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility, specifically employment contract discussions for all professional staff and administration. The board will leave the cafeteria and convene in closed session in the main office conference room. The board will return to the cafeteria for our regular session meeting upon completing the closed session. Do we have a motion to move to close?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second to move to closed. Ally, will you do roll call?
Audrey Costa,
Yes.
Ed Robinson,
Yes?
Jennifer Gonzalez,
Yep.
Keith Castenson,
Yeah.
Mike Powers.
Yes.
Motion carries.